Hey cousins, a voiceover Moni here. No visuals this week, but still wanted to get this content out. So for those who like to listen and do some cleaning around the crib, riding in the whip, working your 9 to 5, need some buffer music in the background, this video is for you, as well as others. So like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the Discord because that's where it's at when we're not on the channel. Now, if you are a coal miner, hit the backspace. This video is not for you and you won't like what I'm about to say. I honestly don't care if you don't like it, but I'm saving you the heartbreak. So please listen to the full video at your own risk. Now, let's just get the obvious out the way. Jermaine Cole can rap. Yes, we are on first name basis for this video. Jermaine is very good at putting words together, doubles, flips, storytellings, all that. He's elite when it comes to it. I can admit those things despite never being moved by his music. But again, I can admit he is one of the best of the generation when it comes to rapping. But also, when he raps, I'm not moved by it. And I always leave his records feeling like, okay, what else? What else does he bring to the table? Do I personally know who he is? And after recent events over the last year and a couple months, I have a hard time deciphering who Jermaine Cole is, and it doesn't help with how confusing, conflicting, and passive aggressive he is when he attempts to take these high roads and then doubling back with, but I could if I wanted to type stances. According to Jermaine Cole on his Port Antonio song, he could have won the battle between himself and Kendrick Lamar. First of all, no, you couldn't. You couldn't have won because if you could have, you would have participated. But instead, we all saw you get on stage, letting us know your stomach was hurting. You were having the bubble guts and you couldn't sleep at night. You were tossing and turning. So, no, I don't want to hear about what you could have, what you would have, what you should have done. Live with the fact you stepped to the side and let Kendrick and Drake go to war. And I mean, it's been long overdue anyway. And now I know I was gone for like a week and I had some other thoughts to get off when Port Antonio first dropped. But a week later, I'm sure y'all have heard every type of opinion. And I don't want to stay on this long. Plus, Jermaine has about 3 dreads left because everyone's been pulling him every which way but loose since this song has dropped. But one thing I peeped is, and I briefly spoke about this on our recent live stream, Jermaine's entire game plan was to let Kendrick and Drake go to war. He was going to let them expose each other through a war of words, and by the time it was all said and done, both of them will be wounded and bleeding out. Hence the corny ass line about him talking about walking away with both their blood on him. Jermaine wanted to have them two take each other out, and then he would run in and the people would declare him the king because these two are wounded so bad, their reputations are ruined from all the allegations, and neither of them can stand on their own 2 feet anymore. Wrong, Jermaine, wrong. You are still in third place. If we even are still claiming that there's a big three, Drake is on life support right now. He can't chart a song to save his life. He fell completely off the Billboard Hot 100 charts for the first time since I think 2022, I believe. And the Spanish song he just dropped debuted at 158 on the Spotify USA chart. It failed to chart on Spotify Global and Apple Music Daily Top 100 in USA Global, which is why you were giving him a pep talk on that song because he is the obvious loser in the war. When there's Kendrick, who has lived in the top 10 for 20 plus weeks, broke almost every single rap record possible, and is gearing up to have one of the best 2025s an artist has ever seen. Not just rapper, but artist. I'm talking Super Bowl, album, stadium tour. A freaking snippet, that broccoli snippet, is being used for promo for Mercedes F1. PG Lang is pumping out creative content teaching the people to invest in financial literacy. Whole time, Jermaine, you were airlifted up to the sky for safety. You speaking, you peeking your head around the corner, looking on with binoculars to see if the coast was clear from all the bombs dropping. So no, I don't want to hear about what you could have done, Jermaine. You were number 3 before the battle, and you are still number 3. Wait, I forgot. There's no big 3 anymore. There's no big 3. Kendrick Lamar separated himself, and he meant it when he said it was just big hit. You, Jermaine, do not get cool points for walking away and being the bigger person. Air quotes. You are not the bigger person, especially not with all the shit you've been popping leading up to this battle. How you cook any rapper, gun bar galore? When it was time to prove you were a problem, you tucked your tail. What's a good pen when you run from proving how good it is when the essence of hip hop battle rap is presented to you? But you beef with Diggy Simmons and Little Pump, though. You above rapping and proving yourself to hip hop and the fans, but wasn't above going at artists younger and not on the same level as you talent wise. We saw what could be when Wale smoked your boots. We didn't forget that either. Listen. We respected it when you said your spirit wasn't aligned right with all of this. We got some jokes off. We saw you at the beach listening to your music, riding your bike, doing what you do. You got a pass, but coming back months later saying what you could have done, saying Drake and Kendrick did it for the money, the fans influenced this, mentioning bots, all that mess is insane. I've had enough of giving you a pass. I've had enough of the coal miners pretending he stepped back because this beef had gotten too personal. Outside of the obvious beef with Drake and Kendrick spanning 10 years, present day, it was J. Cole who threw the first rock, y'all. Like, are we forgetting? The beef becoming devilishly personal hadn't occurred yet. We hadn't gotten to that point of how dark it turned. They were still doing countdowns on Twitter because Kendrick hadn't dropped yet. They were saying he was MIA, he was missing in action, posting milk cartons with him missing on the back of it. Then you had Chubb saying, tell that little boy to drop, but he won't because he know better. Drake was telling people to like his comment as they have a nothing to drop button. So how had it gotten too personal outside of Drake taking small jabs at Whitney? And then when Kendrick did drop, you had already apologized and deleted your song after putting it on DSPs and making money off of it. But you claim Kendrick and Drake were only doing it to make money. You made money off of it too. Drake was given 2 warnings to not mention Kendrick's family, besides what Drake had already done in Euphoria and 616 in LA. Are we forgetting Drake tried to be rabbit himself, telling Kendrick to call him a pedo, telling Kendrick to make a West Coast banger that was undeniable using Tupac AI? Kendrick gave him what he wanted and then some. So let's stop the revisionist history of saying Jermaine bowed out because it had gotten too personal. We weren't there yet. We weren't there yet, and I'm not going to let y'all to keep pretending that. Things took a turn and got definitely personal on the song Drake called you a coward on, Jermaine. Do you remember Family Matters? He accused Kendrick of beating Whitney. Whitney was a victim of domestic violence regularly, but then he also said she was a whore who didn't know who her baby father was because she cheated with her and Kendrick's childhood friend, Dave Frey. Drake also threw drabs at you, saying you were losing sleep and not him. So who really made it personal? You on that Poor Antonio song giving Drake a pep talk, saying you thankful for what he did for you. That's cute. And talking about you would have lost the brother in Kendrick, the same brother who shot at you out and told the world Drake did you wrong and not like us. Meanwhile, Drake on his Finsta laughing at memes of Jay-Z ignoring your phone calls. What? He was making fun of you. Just a week or 2 ago, and his best eaters were pushing Drake versus J. Cole propaganda. Within the last 2 weeks, you were Drake's target to get his leg back. That was the next play, and here you come. No, Drakey Pool, you still my brother. I love you. Push that magic pen. But hold up, like Drake did. I just made the connection. Now it all makes sense how you let Drake trick you, air quotes, into doing first person shooter. Because that was the rumor. Drake told Jermaine Kendrick was sending his verse and it never came. And then y'all was on some Spider-Man meme shit. Jermaine wasn't tricked. He wasn't bamboozled. You were a part of the mastermind of doing this whole time. 7 Minute Drill, although you took it back because of the reception it received and the blatant lies, but everything you said in that song, you meant it. Those were J. Cole's real feelings, y'all. They were exiling Kendrick in first person shooter and propping him and Drake up as number one and number two. Spider-Man memes was the plan from the jump because you knew Kendrick ain't rap too tight and he wouldn't take your actions lightly. Y'all downgraded him to number three off rip. Y'all had intentions of 2v1 in Kendrick because y'all knew he would respond. And I'm almost certain you were the ringleader. Let's talk about it. Kendrick and Drake been dissing each other for 10 years. During those beefs, Drake has tried to squash things with Kendrick and be cool. We've seen him repost old pictures of them together countless times, old direct messages. We've seen him pop up at Kendrick concerts, and Kendrick has paid him dust. What would make him think Kendrick would take a feature? I'm thinking you convinced Drake you could get him to do it because y'all were close. But that's just me assuming because it doesn't make sense why Jermaine would think Kendrick would do the song, being they were supposed to be the closest of the three. He knows Kendrick's just dating for Drake. You, Jermaine, tricked both of them. Hidden Drake's response and being mad you were backing out. Y'all made the plan to 2v1 this nigga. Y'all were going to 2v1 him. And then you woke up and went to your plan B. And Drake left the, what is it called? The Dream Fest because he told you not to go on that stage and apologize. And let's think about this, y'all. If you were to compare the three, right? Jermaine and Kendrick went to the same class. And I'm saying class in air quotes. The class of lyricism and putting words together. I'm not saying they are the same, but what their brand is known for is being lyricists first. Whereas Drake is the pop guy who gets help here and there and makes a hit song, blah, blah, blah. But when you think of it as a whole, Kendrick is better at both things than Jermaine and Drake. He's better at both of the things they possess. Kendrick has the lyricism and he has the star power and creativity. It's much more easier for Jermaine to side with Drake than side with Kendrick because he feels this is who he has a direct competition with. He can eat off of Drake's plate as far as creativity goes because J. Cole is not that creative. But he knows bar-wise, Drake can't eat off his plate. Drake doesn't have that much of a lyricist pen. He gets assistance for that. So again, the things J. Cole said in 7 Minute Drill that he later took back were his true thoughts and feelings. He can't understand why Kendrick, someone he thought he could sign as he was in a better position then, is more successful than him now. He thinks, or at least pretends, he's the better lyricist. Drake also feels I'm more outside. The people can reach me. I have more streams. Why does Kendrick keep mopping the floor with me every award season? They both hate the fact that he's more rewarded than the both of them. He has more Grammys than the both of them combined, while still maintaining his integrity and not having to do the most. They don't understand for some reason quality over quantity. Let's date back to Jermaine calling Kendrick a fake activist. Drake also did the same as well. But let's point out why Jermaine would probably say that. And shout out to one of the cousins for pointing this out to me. Remember when J. Cole put out the song for Michael Brown called Be Free, I think the name of the song was, or something like that? He got attention, but it didn't do what he wanted it to do. Now imagine a year later, it's 2015, Kendrick drops To Pimp a Butterfly, and there's a song on there called All Right that expresses ideas of hope and personal struggle, not even a song for activism, and it still blows up overnight, becoming the song of the Black Lives Matter movement, something J. Cole was trying to do. Kendrick didn't even make the song with that intention. J. Cole did. So the fake activism cards is likely rooted in that, being bitter and jealous. And when you're bitter and jealous, you don't use your sound mind or are willing, and you're willing to bend the knee to side with an op just to give their main op target out the way. Jermaine had no problem doing first person shooter, even though he was aware of how deep this thing went with Kendrick and Drake. Jermaine had no problem dropping 7-minute drill and exposing his true thoughts and disdain for Kendrick's success. That man said Kendrick's album put people to sleep. Jermaine, that's the running joke for you for years. So now you're self-projecting your own negatives onto Kendrick. Jermaine had no problem siding with Drake because deep down inside, Kendrick wasn't supposed to be the star that he is today in his mind. Jermaine underestimated how well Kendrick would come out on top as well as the media did. An ass whooping for the century. They're trying to piece Drake back together. It's like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, then Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. It's playing out right before our eyes. They are trying to put Drake back together. They are motivating this man in tweets and songs, telling him, once upon a time, you were great, get back to that, coddling him like he's a victim. Jermaine Cole had this entire plan mapped out, and it didn't go as planned. Kendrick and Drake were supposed to beat each other so badly, he would come in at the last minute as the last man standing with their blood on him, and people would vote him as the king on a technicality. Again, you're wrong, Jermaine. You wouldn't have won shit. You would have lost and lost badly, just like your biracial brother Drake. And truthfully, I hope Kendrick doesn't respond to you. Maybe one line or two if he needs to get it off his chest, but nothing in full. Kendrick, if you are listening to this, I doubt it, but please let the half-whites have each other. Jermaine, stay your punk ass on the porch next time. So, cousins, I know I said this wouldn't be long, and it's probably like 15 minutes. And I know I'm a week late, but I still needed to get this off my chest. I'm sorry. I needed to. Please let me know your thoughts on the Port Antonio song, the big three. If there's still a big three, what should happen next for the three of them? Whatever. Just share your thoughts. Thank y'all for staying this long to the end of the video. Like this video. Let's hit our usual goal of 100 plus likes. Subscribe to the channel to become a part of the family and join the Discord, as that's where we are always when we're not on the channel or the community tab. And I'll catch y'all in my next one. Later.